Okay, so continuing back. So we left off where I speak about the medication, where I used it, and after using that medication, I got a little ease with the cramp. I started to feel back normal. There was no pain. The medication that they told me to buy, that did help. The running, like the inflammation and stuff like that. Now I was just anxious and worried what the results will be when the doctor called me. So this is where I told you my prayer life kind of get increased, because none of this never occurred with me. So I was mostly in praying and fasting, that the results will be positive. Eventually we get a call. They called me and told me that that the medicine worked. You know, what they used, it will work. So they told me which day I should come back, and I went back to do another examination to see how things are working out, because the medication that they gave me that I had to buy is the same medication that they're using on the you know, what was going on with me with the blood test that they took and the pap smear with the blood tissue, those kinds of stuff. So they just want to let me come in back and see how things are going down there, you know. And I went back, I think it was like 2 weeks after, and they say everything is okay and stuff like that. But like I told you, they told us that we cannot get pregnant. So we did not satisfy with that, or I will say, did not satisfy with it. So we end up going to another gynecologist. But we didn't go right away. We said we will go. The money was not the problem at that time, because he was making money, so he had money. Anyhow, we go back to our normal life, but not as normal to say like everything is all good. We start to take more precaution, more steps, and you know, because I start to get a little more to say more curious of his lifestyle and the way what he's doing, because as I say, he was still living in his house with his people, but he claiming to say they are not dealing, and that was my biggest downfall. Anyhow, I go about life and all these things. I end up now where I end up in the market. Yeah, after that whole period, I leave that work, because they were doing some kind of unjust with me as well. So I leave that work and I started to do a little more deeper querying and research about how I could go about doing my own business now. And eventually things was analyzed and finalized that okay, I can sell in the market. So I started to go about different places where I can get my stuff, you know, what the how I will sell and all these things. I didn't have no kind of fear, because as I say, I was more the outgo girl. Eventually it's that way I end up selling in the market, and that went on for some time, you know, because I say I'm back. I was struggling with my weight, meaning that one moment I up, and next moment I drop weight, and next moment I get back small. It was a lot of things was going on. I never get back really my normal balance since after that incident. So anyhow, I was selling in the market, and let me say this was like probably approximately like it could be coming on to another year of going through this whole process, or it could be a year and couple, probably 2 months or so. Eventually now in the market I'm selling, and I'm kind of like it out there because I'm making money. I'm trying to build my own place and all these stuff, and that's when it get a little more kind of intense. Now these individuals decided to send people to kind of like to try to finish off the work with a start. And it had this particular day, I was in the market and this gentleman came, and there was so much things going on. I was having many visions. I was having strange visions, and I just didn't understand what strange vision I was having. So I was having a lot of encounter of different things, spiritual things. And this particular day, there was a guy came up at my stand, and he stood there for a whole, let me say, 5 minutes. He didn't buy nothing. He just stood there. And I said, sir, if you know you're not buying, could you please step aside? I'm very serious when it comes to my business. Please do not touch my stuff, please. Because he was like touching and saying, oh, if I buy all these things, how would you feel if I could just, I will buy everything, how much it will cost? And I say, sir, don't play with me in this day now. Don't play with me. If you want to buy, but don't come out here for all of that long talk. And he keep carrying on a conversation. Curiosity, as I say, killed the cat. Me now, knowing that I'm going through certain process in my life, he was hitting some, hitting the hammer on some nails there, and it kind of making me curious where he gained this information from. And that particular day, he come a little closer to me and he said, I'm going by the bar right there. If I wanna tell you something. I wanna tell you something. What really I'm here for. I have a message for you. Meet me where we have no disturbance. And he walked. Now me, as I tell you, curiosity killed the cat. I want to know what this man wants to tell me. So I told the two women who were there, as I told you, that I have them down like an aunt. I told them, look, this gentleman say he have something to tell me, and it's something about my life and what is going on with me, and I'm just going quick to hear. And it was like, you can't just leave your business and just go. You don't know this guy. You don't even know them send him. And I was like, okay, we will find out. And then it was like, make haste, don't stay long. So they know everything, how everything goes, the price and everything. So I didn't have no fear about leaving my business with them. And I went and I walked around and I met him in there and we sit down. And his words was like, you want something to drink? I was like, no, I good. And I asked him, I said, you want something to drink? And he was like, probably I will drink a light stuff, maybe a Smalta or something, or a Malta. And I did so. I even bought one for myself, and we talk. And then he started telling me certain things about what happened to me in the past with my elder daughter. And this is somebody don't even know me. And he was giving out some information that had me curious how he know these stuff. And like I told you, that's like how I know God now. I didn't know God that time as how I know God personal Lord and Savior. So I was open up to sorcery then, I will say now. And he started to give me information that how my daughter died was a sacrifice, which I know that is true, and all these different information and all these things, and then he started to tell me with the individual who I am with, that's the reason why he came, because they are lighting candle on me that my life will be limit. And then he was like, here what to do, give me $40, and with this $40 I'm gonna buy 2 candles and I'm gonna light it, and when I light it, their power will not overtake your power. Man, I did not know, me giving him my money while I work hard for sweat and labor that day, I actually give away my everything, that it have me pain even right now, to a point that I have to let God break all barriers that these witch and wizards and warlocks has trying to have over my life. So we end there. I went back to my my duty post, which is going back and selling like normal. Then the market asked me what went on, so I ended up telling them. They was like, Natasha, you don't know if these people send him, how we know this information and stuff. I said, like, well, my fiance don't know him, so how he get these information is like, girl, when people dealing up with certain things, you don't know they have information, these things will give them information and they give them the right accurate information. And I was like, okay. With that, I leave that like that, and I went about my life. We was going about normal. With that, now it ended up making me, things started nothing started to happen. At night, I will find, well, me and my daughter, we used to sleep on the same bed, and at night, at a certain time in the night, I will find I need sleep and wake, and I will find like my underwear, I feeling like somebody's taking off my underwear, but I know consciously while in a sleep and wake, I know it's just me and my daughter in that room. So in the sleep and wake, I'm conscious like, who could be taking off my, so sometimes when I jump up, my underwear is quite down to my ankle, and I was like scary, like what is this, and kind of be in a kind of scary, because it's all kind of things start to happen to me. And I will be like frightened to sleep. I'll be scared when as soon as night fall, like 6 o'clock, I am scared to sleep. I'm scared. I'm angry that it's night. Night is coming. There's another terrifying thing I'm going to go through. One thing lead to another. I began to tell my fiance, this is what playing out and stuff. End up by someone, and this person said they are a far-sighted person. This person told me certain things that did transpire a year after, and this person told me that, listen, the person where they're gonna take you is gonna dirty you. And this person told me that fear is my biggest problem. As long as I don't indulge and inject fear in myself, the enemy has no stronghold over me. So fear was one of my battle I had dealing with my whole life. So with that, I go about like normal, but like I told you, when night fall, I'm very scared. I'm not myself. So it had this particular night. It was like early. My sister and her children, they all was in the living room, and they all was watching television, and I was in my room with my daughter, and I was in a sleep and wake, and all I know that I had a visitation with something very scary. During that night, as I lie down, it was around 9 o'clock when I look at the time on my phone, and I had a big clock, so I always see the time, and it will glow in the dark, so I always seen it. I was never a person like to sleep too much in dark. I always have a light on, but as I tell you, it was very early, that particular night I just feel tired. As I say, one time I'm up and next time I'm down, and I was selling in the market at that time, so my body is kind of, weary, tired, because I used to get up early. So I went into a kind of nap, and I saw this in the vision, sleep and wake. I feel literally my bed sunk at my foot side. So I feel this touch on my leg, and when I raise up, I just open my eyes. There was a woman sitting beside my foot, at the foot side of my bed. She was naked as she born. And when I said, "Who are you? What are you doing in my room? Where you come from? How you pass my siblings? How did you pass everybody and get into this room?" And when she turned to look at me, her features changed into this, I don't know how to describe this thing. It was ugly. It was a face like an owl. It had wings. It had feet like an horse. It had a body like a lion. It was scary. And it got ugly, and in that sleep and wake, I get really panicked, and I started praying. And when I realized it was really spiritual was going on, because life is spiritual, I jumped. And when I jumped up, my daughter was still asleep. And when I got up, I was soaking wet. And I picked up my testimony, and I opened, and I was reading Psalm 91. And while I was reading Psalm 9, I saw this thing, because it had a song that made. And when I started to quote the Psalm 91, it just vanished from through the door, and I run after it. And when I run after it, forgetting I have my daughter there, I went after, and I run out. There was no sign of it. So I reached in front of the living room where my family was, and they was like, my sister was like, "Hey Natasha, how you look like you seen a ghost?" So I say, "Indeed, did you see something just run out here?" And she was like, "What?" I say something was in my room and it run out. Didn't you see? And everybody stopped what they're doing. Everybody was watching the TV. Everybody stopped, and they realized like I gone crazy, because they never see me in this state, My brother-in-law had to walk me back into the room where my daughter was resting, and I showing them all, explaining to them where these things that stand and how it show itself. Then, we began to talk about certain things, My sister saying, "Better leave his guy, ask you think with all these things happening," and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, it's true, and stuff like that. Now, in that whole period, my mom was not pleased with the whole situation, because she know the individual people and what they were doing. So she always warning me, "Natasha, you should end that relationship before it gets a little more deep. End that relationship, because you're going to regret and you're going to suffer." And I said, "Mommy, why are you always saying such bad thing on me? And she's like, "No, I'm not saying bad thing. I'm just telling you the truth. These people doing stuff." That wasn't him, She was speaking about his people. Anyhow, with that, I sit down in the room, and I was like praying and talking to God what it is happening to me, Things when morning reach, I'm good. But as soon as night fall, I'm scared, I'm fear come over me. I'm angry. I'm angry that night fall. I don't know how to sleep. I was like suffering with it's like a stage of what you call this word, like anxiety start to take me over, because I don't know how to sleep at night and all these things. I had a smoking weed, because I want to get high so I could forget and sleep. I was never a person of drinking rum, so I will drink the beer to get a little high so I could forget about what is, but that did not help me. I started having dreams about me always with only dead people around me. Every single night I start to have dreaming with me. I'm amongst dead people. I'm amongst creatures. I'm always in the cemetery, wandering in the cemetery, and all these manner of things. And it began so intense that when time to pray now, I will literally hear voices, multiple of voices talking in my ears, in my left ears. And while I'm praying, they are cursing. So it reached a point where I started to scream out, and I started to tell him, my fiance, look, make them stop. And he's like, I can't make them stop. I don't have your body. You have to ignore them. And I was like, I can't ignore them. There's too many of them, and he was like, continue to pray, till it reached that point I cannot even pray out. I have to pray in words, because every time I pray out, I curse in too. While hearing I curse in, so it reached to that point where things get so serious that my life started to go down, and then eventually I began to get sick, where I couldn't sell no more in the market. I couldn't walk. I didn't even eat in. When things go down my stomach, I bring it up. Eventually he ended up taking me to St. Benedict's. We end up there. That's the first time I end up there. And when we end up there, that was another story. Because after having these encounters in the night, as I say, when I'm sleeping, I feel in my underwear coming off. I'm being undressed at night. Nobody's there, no male figure, but I'm being undressed. He said, okay, I'm gonna take you there. So he take me up there, and when we went up there now, there were many people waiting to see the priest. So he said, listen, when you're going there, you're gonna tell them this is what's going on with you. I said, but listen, if it is them as priests, from the time they see me, they're supposed to know what is encounter with me. So I don't need to tell them until they telling me, this is what happening to you, and so, and then I will fill in my part. So I was like, have a confusion with, I was kind of, skeptical on that area. Eventually my turn reached. He did not go in before me. I went in. When I went in and I faced the priest, he said, okay, so Natasha, what is your problem? I said, sir, will I come to you for answer? Because this is my first time, and my fiance, you all have some way you all will help me. So I expect you as a priest will pick up, what is going on with me. And then he was like, okay, yes, but you need to tell us what is really happening. So I explaining to him what is going on with me, how I been having these encounters when I'm sleeping at night, what is happening, I'm being undressed and stuff like that. And he told me a whole long thing, like, he said, yes, you have been visited by this entity. And he now give me another remedy. My God. He give me another remedy where he tell me I must take a glass of water, and it must be rainwater, and I must put it underneath, underneath my bed at the head side. When morning reach, I must change that water, put back fresh water, so whatever the water will pick up. And if the water get dirty, they will know that there's a dark entity around. So I was kind of like going into more witchcraft. Anyhow, I did so because I needed help, right? There were strange things I encountered with me, so I needed help. So I did that, and it begins to get more worse. it begins to get so worse, like literally sometimes I will literally feel like at night the bed is sinking, like if somebody is coming over me, and a sink in the bed, like demonic stuff start to take place with me. So as I say, I was suffering with fear, so I had had a problem when night reached to sleep. I used to want people around me. I don't want to sleep. I always up. I not sleeping a good 8 hours because I'm scared of closing my eyes, what I will encounter. Eventually with that, times go by, I start to drink more, smoke more, going out to party. One of my favorite places I used to go was Nile Bingi, where you smoke, you drink, get high, forget about your problems and stuff like that. So that was a place I used to go to try to forget what is going on with me. At that time, as I told you, I couldn't keep my regular size because one time I'm up and next time I'm down because I'm not eating properly. My mind is always all over the place and stuff like that. Always trying to figure out what it is happening with me. And then with that, I began to get more sick, where now these things, as I told you, where was coming out on my skin. So what I will do is that we will end it here and we will go a little more deeper into my story. So thank you for listening. Until we meet again.